Hey guys, welcome back. It's the Dr. Cloud Show, and I want to welcome everybody. Sorry about the little delay here. We had actually a power outage for a few moments, but I think we're back online and seeing everybody. Hope you can see us, and I'm glad you have joined us. If you're part of our regular listening family, good to see you and hear you again. And want to thank you for the way y'all are supporting each other and on the forums and everything, and joining the groups and all of that stuff. And if you are a new listener, let me tell you a little bit about the program. We talk here. We talk about life and what's on your mind in terms of your kind of owies in life, where you hurt, maybe, depressed, anxious, fearful, stuff like that, addictions. And then the people you relate to. Now, I know that most of your relationships are perfect and they never cause you any problems, but every now and then, somebody's got that weird cousin. And especially if you're married to them, that can even be harder. So, anyway, relationship problems of all kinds. And then performance issues. We want to reach our goals in life, right? We want to reach our dreams and make them have reality to them. And so that's another area we talk about. And interspersed with all of that, sometimes is how our life of faith is involved in all three of those areas. So if you have questions you'd like to ask me or talk about those issues, give us a call. Here's the number: 844-940-2774. 844-940-2774. Lines are open now. We got a little delayed in the beginning, and so I think probably some people were trying to couldn't get in. You can try back again now. They should be working. 844-940-2774 is the number. Okay, as always, what I like to do is start out with discussing something a little bit. And this is what I wanted us to think about today. I think it is one of the most important things that we could ever think about if we are thinking about trying to get somewhere in life, in a relationship, in our health, in a goal, in a dream. And that is to differentiate between a problem and a pattern. A problem and a pattern. Now, excuse me, I think I have a piece of fuzz in my eye here. Oh, sorry about that. That's the thing with, if we were just on radio, I could do that. Wouldn't have to worry. Now I got to share it with you. What is the difference in a problem and a pattern? Well, guess what? We all have problems. You have a relationship, you come across a problem, why'd you do that? Well, I don't like that. And when you did this, I didn't like that. Hey, that's normal. That's not dysfunction. That's human. We all have problems. We try to go reach a goal, for example. And we had a problem, getting going this morning, or getting everything organized, or, hitting the time schedule or something like that. That's a problem. Problems are there to be solved. So what happens when we have a problem? Well, we solve it, right? You have an interaction in a relationship, you have an interaction that didn't go well, somebody was harsh or somebody didn't listen. You address the problem, the other person goes, "Oh, yeah, you're right. Gosh, sorry, let's do better. What can we do to make that better next time?" And we solve the problem and we move on. And that's how we accomplish goals in life, relationally or otherwise, right? If I'm trying to, write a book, maybe that's a goal I got to reach, and I'm trying to get a chapter finished, but I don't finish it on time, and I got this problem in my schedule. I realize, well, I over schedule. I got too many people calling, so what do? I call them and I rearrange them. And I solve the problem, and then tomorrow I don't have that problem. We're on it. We're off and running. That's how we accomplish things in life. If you want a life of no problems, then don't try to do anything, because anything you're going to do in this world is going to have problems associated with it. That's normal. All right, fine. Solve them. If we solve them, no problem, right? Problem solved, no problem. Now, here's the thing. What if the next time I start to write a chapter, or the next time after that I start to write one, or the next time I have an interaction with my, wife or friend or whoever, and I have that same problem again, or maybe a third time, and I try to solve it like I've been trying to solve it, I'm not seeing the problem, because my problem is not that I got a problem. My problem is now I've got a pattern. Okay. Now, a pattern is what begins to repeat itself. So if I've got a way of interacting that isn't a one-off thing that we fix or happens here and there, or a schedule problem that happens here and there, if I got one of those, I can fix it. But if it is recurring and happening over and over and over, then whatever I'm doing to solve that problem is not going to solve it, because I've proven that it doesn't solve it, right? So then I've got to step back and I've got to say, wait a minute, I don't have a problem here. I got a pattern. Every time I try to set up something to happen on this time schedule, then I get derailed. Okay. What's driving that pattern? What's feeding that pattern? Things can only live if they're fed, right? So somebody's got to be feeding it, not starving it. If you starve a pattern, it's going to go away. But if you feed it, somebody's enabling it, or something is enabling it, or circumstances are stepping in and recreating it all the time, then it's going to grow. Same thing in a relationship. Until we sit back and say, you know what, when you and I talk about A, B, or C, have you noticed that every time we end up kind of getting in a bad mood with each other, or, bummed out, or we can't get to resolution, or we start getting angry or critical? We got a pattern here. Let's look back at the pattern. What drives the pattern? Okay. So here's why I'm telling you this. Because once something becomes a pattern, it starts to repeat. And once you start to repeat things, now you're developing actual brain circuitry to be able to repeat that. It's sort of like if you got roof running off your house, there's something wrong with the gutter, it's running down this way, and you'll start to notice, every time it rains, it goes down. Well, it's going to start to run down a certain path, and then it's going to pick up more space in that path, and then it's going to keep finding that, and it's going to dig a little trench, and now you've got a pattern. Now you've got wiring for it, so that every time it rains, it's going to go down that path. Okay, now we got a little trench in our soil. Okay, and then it hardens. Well, here's what happens with a pattern. We keep repeating it, it hardens, and pattern becomes character. See, if we have something that we're repeating, then that's our character. I don't mean moral. Can be moral, but it might not be. I just mean you got a character in a movie. What can we depend on that character to do? He's always going to look like this. He's always going to say this kind of thing. It's always going to be funny. It's always going to be scary. This one's always going to be serious. Okay. That's character. It's a fixed pattern in the way that we can expect somebody to operate. All right. But once something becomes a character, now you're talking about your DNA and it becomes your identity. There's an old saying, I can't remember who said this. Somebody Google it. One of the philosophers. Character is destiny. Character is destiny. Okay. Because how we're glued together determines our patterns, and our patterns are going to determine where we end up in life. So if I've got a pattern of, let's say, for example, let's say you got a pre-med student, okay, in college, and they're pre-med, and they got, because I had a lot of pre-med friends, and it's very rigorous. I was kind of half pre-med. I was, pre-graduate school psych, but pre-med is a little more rigorous because you got heavy science, lots of organic chemistry and all this stuff. Well, here's what I noticed about my pre-med friends, that they had very, very predictable, the ones that did well, ones that actually made, they had very, very predictable patterns, and they would study in patterns, and they make their flashcards, and they would go and they'd be very disciplined about this because it's the only way to make it through all this stuff. Well, what you would see every now and then is you'd see one of them, they'd go party or they'd go whatever, or they're just too tired and they say, heck, I'm not doing it today. and they would skip it. Well, that's fine. But then you would see some others that would skip it and go out and party, or they're like in the fraternity life, or then they go do it. They skip it, but then they sleep in one more day. Now it's twice. Well, twice felt good. See, once something begins to be repeated, then it's gaining momentum. So don't let these problems become patterns. And if they do become patterns, then you have to address them unless you like where the pattern is going to take you. Unless you like where the pattern is going to take you. Okay. Because it's usually, a lot of times, not a good place. I say usually if it comes from a problem. On the other hand, patterns, patterns, patterns. Patterns are the best things that we can have if they're patterning good things. If we got a problem, we get up and solve it. We don't procrastinate. If we got a conflict, we get up and solve it. We don't avoid it. See, if our pattern is if something's wrong, we go do something about it. Okay? There you go. That's our thought for the day. So solve your problems. If you're not getting solved, recognize you got a pattern, step back and say, okay, how can we interrupt this pattern? Okay. So let's go to the phones. Let me give you the number one more time, 844-940-2774, 844-940-2774 to get on the show. And also share the program with your friends. Send them a link. They might like to hear something on this. And we're trying to grow our audiences. Without any advertising, we need you to grow it, because if we grow it, we can keep doing this. So we're having fun together. So let's grow it. Send it to your friends. And while you're at it, go check out boundaries.me, boundaries.me, where you can learn more about where all this comes from. Okay, let's go to Houston, Texas. And we have one of my favorite topics. We have a spiritual question, it says, coming from Maria. Maria, welcome to the program.
Hi.
Hi.
Thank you for taking my call.
You're welcome. How do you solve a problem
Yes.
like Maria? You probably know that song, right?
Yeah, I think I've heard it before.
So how can I help you?
Well, my question is, that verse that says, knock and the door will be open, seek, and you will find, ask and it will be given to you. It's really hard for me to do that. So I was wondering why.
And what kind of areas, how is it hard, first of all, when you think about or try to think about doing it, what happens if you want to ask God for something or seek, go looking for?
I can't seem to find something to ask, even though I might have needs, but I can't seem to ask.
Well, do you know your need? Do you know what your need is?
Well, when I needed wisdom or finances or whatever, and almost like, well, he knows that I have that need, but still the Bible says I will need to ask.
Right, but you know your need, so the simple answer would be, so ask God for your need. So what breaks down there? Why don't you do that? What happens inside of you?
I don't know.
Well, that'd be the place I would start.
I doubt that. Yeah.
Well, maybe you doubt. What I would want to know is exactly, I'd want to get rid of the maybe and just watch it, become like an observer in your head. Okay. So if I said right now, okay, Maria, we are going to say a prayer right now. We're going to ask God to bring some light into your finances. Okay. To provide some open doors there, or learning or growth or new opportunities or better impulse control. I don't know what the issue, but we're just going to ask God, help Maria with her money issues. Okay. Now, if I said to you, okay, right now, Maria, I want you to, let's say a prayer. I want you to ask God to do that. What goes through your head?
It's hard. It's hard to put in words.
What words are in your head? What words are coming easily? What do you hear inside your head when you think about asking?
Maybe that I was growing up a lot. No. I think, yeah, that's what it is.
You start to have memories of when you were growing up and what?
No, just hearing the word no. No.
Oh, hearing the word no. Oh, I see. Okay. All right, Maria,
Yeah.
you have absolutely um, you've absolutely put your finger on one of the biggest problems that we have in knowing God. And that is that we have learned in our own experience with humans to think about certain aspects of our being and of life in certain ways. We've learned that, for example, if I talk about a failure, I'm going to get scolded or shamed. And so we hide our failures from God. Or if I have a financial need, I'm going to be told no. Or if I have a dream, I'm going to say, be heard, don't you think about stuff like that. You go get a real job. Or. And that is
Yes.
such an important insight. So I want you to do two things. I want you to begin to do just what we did every time you pray. And I want you to write down, okay? Write down what you want from God. And if you have it written down and you're going to go to it, that's going to give you a little bit of an anchor, a little bit of a script to be able to say, God, I want to ask you for this. And I want you to do that. Okay. But the second thing I want you to do is when you do that, I want you to do what we did. And we took a moment and listened for the other voices in your head. And then you're going to identify those and say, wait a minute, that's not God that's necessarily saying no. That's my family or that's my, and we're going to differentiate the voice of God from the voice of people.
But I know that, and I know that, I guess, in my head. I know that he wouldn't tell me no, because I have seen him come through for me. But
I know,
that
but what you're talking about is a habitual pattern that pops up like this, and I want to break the pattern. So I want you to get to notice what you already know. And when you get above it and you start to observe it and you say, oh, there's that voice I know about. Oh, there it is again. That's going to cause it to lose power. And then you hang a left and go over to the other column and say, but I'm sticking with God. I'm not listening to that voice. So you become aware of it, you ignore it, and then you reconnect to God. And then begin to keep a journal about and watch his answers, because he does answer prayer. So I just want you to try those things. I know you know. Anybody that's probably, walked it a long time and prayed a lot knows that. But you got to become aware of these voices in your head, learn to dispute them and ignore them, and then turn from them. And then they'll lose their power. So try that for me and call me back and tell me how that works.
Okay, I will.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for your call. One of the things in my life of faith for a long time now, I think one of the biggest problems is learning to distinguish what's God versus what's me versus what's other voices that I've experienced in my life. Because, we hear a lot of crap in the name of God that it has nothing to do with God. In fact, that's the word that Paul used in the New Testament when he said that. He listed all of this religious stuff that was in his head that he was trying to do to, have faith and all this. And he says, but I count it all as dung. You know what dung is? It's crap. He said, it's just, we got to get all that out of our heads and listen to what God says about himself. If we want to have a real relationship with somebody, then we have to listen to what they say about themselves, not what other people say. I wrote a book with John Townsend called 12 Christian Beliefs That Will Drive You Crazy. 12 Christian beliefs that will drive you crazy. And the word Christian was in quotation marks because these are commonly held beliefs that people have that they say as if they're part of our faith and as if they're in the Bible. And they're not. They're not anywhere in there. In fact, the Bible teaches the opposite of a bunch of these things, but people just accept them. So don't just accept what you hear. Go see for yourself what it actually says. Okay. All right. Where are we? 844-940-2774. Seems like this is like Spirit Day. We got another call about a spiritual question from Michelle. I love the spiritual questions. Keep coming. Keep them coming. My favorite topic. Michelle's calling us from Chicago. And Michelle, I want to welcome you to the program. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you, Dr. Tom. And Henry Cloud. Sorry.
Hello.
Yes, I'm here. Hi. Yes, I'm here.
Okay, there you are. You came back.
Yes, hi.
Hi. How can I help you?
Can you hear me? Hi.
I can hear you.
Yes.
I can.
Okay, good. I thank you so much for having this show, and I'm so glad I got through.
Oh, you're very welcome. If you could get a little closer to your microphone, it might help. You're a little faint.
Okay. How is that? Is that better?
We'll see. Okay. So tell me your question.
Is that better? How about that?
That's pretty good there.
Okay, awesome. Okay, hi again. I'm sorry about that. Is it clear now?
It's great.
Okay, awesome. Okay, he's like, get to the question. Okay, so all right. So I grew up in foster care. I grew up in group home, and I, somehow, some way, I, went off and I got a full ride scholarship, overcome all those, things that got me there, and went off to college. And I have 3 beautiful children. At the age of 32, we lost our son. He was 2 years old. So now my children are, it's been almost 10 years next week that he has passed away. My son, Joshua, our first one. And I am so, I don't know. Thank you. I don't know whether to say thank you or I appreciate that. I guess I'm so angry. I'm so angry with God, not in general. I still, obviously, as you could tell, I'm still very just kind of a happy person. I have 2 beautiful, healthy children. And I guess I'm angry because, and I'm not really trusting of God right now because I have been through so much in my life. I'm just waiting for the next shoe to drop. And I know I didn't make it through all that I have gone through just by myself. I realize that. And I know that my relationship is very deep. And I sense that God is saying it's okay to be angry at me. But at the same time, I'm like, okay, I'm glad you think it's okay to be angry. But when are you going to take another child of mine? And why? What did I do? Why did I? What? Please don't. And so every single day, and you can probably hear them in the background. I'm sorry. When is it going to? I guess. I mean, do you see what I'm like? I'm just scared. It is the worst pain in the world to lose a child. And
I can't. I literally cannot imagine a pain worse. I just can't.
It's awful. It's after everything I'd been through, in foster care and the group home. You don't just get there because people were good to you. No, they weren't.
Right.
But there's no pain greater than losing your child. There's nothing I had ever gone through in life.
I believe you.
So okay. Anyhow, sorry.
So tell me how I can help.
Okay, I'm finding it very difficult to let that control, like the thought of in my mind, in my heart, and in my soul, the control of letting my kids and letting my heart just be settled every day, like not worry. I need help in settling my heart and my mind. Nothing is going to happen to my kids.
And it's mainly about your kids.
Yes. Like I know me, I know, but it's the worst pain. And I've been, Willow Creek, I went there for 18 years and, I had a awesome Christian therapist and, but I don't know if therapy could help you with this one. I think there's got to be something deeper.
Well, let me tell you, are you in therapy now?
I am once a week. Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. Because here's how, and I agree with you. I think there's more than, it's a much bigger issue than just what therapy can address. But I think therapy can address some of it. So I would encourage you, you're probably already doing this, but I would encourage you along a couple lines. A lot of times the degree to which we fear something that has happened to us is also related to where we are in the process of having the grief work really done, because that's a process. I don't know if you ever would fully get done with this, but when we have you have a trauma like that, the closer the closer we are to the bigness of it that we're carrying around, is we're kind of like, sort of, wait, stop, and it's called hypervigilance, and that actually gets activated inside of you by, in part, some of the emotion that's still there, needing and wanting to come out. And the thing about a loss that's significant is it's not like your normal little, you go through the months or the year or 2 years of grieving or whatever. It's also, and here's what I want you to recognize about this. Sometimes the longer we get from an event that's that deep and that profound, it's the actual time that you've gotten far enough away from it that actually causes more of it now to have permission to come up. And so it may be something in your therapy that you want to say, you know what, I think I need to revisit some of this, of what it actually felt like.
Yeah, we do. And they actually are very, very good. We do revisit it when, I feel safe to bring it up.
Good.
I feel safer to bring up the things of the past, and how can I not let this affect me as much? And what does hypervigilance mean? What does PTSD look like? What does this look like when I have this reaction?
Part of it is the unprocessed grief. So I would encourage you, I would really encourage you to, in therapy, talk to your therapist about, should we be looking at this more deeply? Should I be focusing on this a little more deeply? Now, on the practice of the hypervigilance stuff, what you can also do, and your therapist can help you with this, is sometimes what you're going to do, it's going to be driven by a lot of thoughts, right? And so you've got to begin to recognize, what are the thoughts that are the triggers. And when those thoughts come in, something's going to happen, or and something happens like that. Until you work on this, what's going to happen is the natural pull is going to be to follow those thoughts down to the event, down to where they can take you in your imagination. So what I would suggest working on, working on in therapy, is learning some actual thought blocking techniques, where when one of those comes, you recognize it, not going to go there, and you immediately immerse yourself in the moment and in the present. Because what keeps harmful fantasized imaginations from gaining root is a deep involvement in the present moment. And the more you can begin to stay,
yeah,
that's where a lot of this power is. And so I would do that as well. And also, and this is gonna sound cheesy to you, okay? Because it
it's
is.
okay. Go for it. Okay.
Well, considering what you've been through, the last thing I want to be is a Band-Aid shallow thing. But this really is profound. In that, the serenity prayer, right?
I do.
And I would write that on a piece of paper with columns. And here's what I can do. Here's what I have control of. Here's what I don't have control of. And surrendering what I don't. And knowing that I can do what I can do with my kids. And there are a lot of things you can do, and equipping them and training them and taking care, that, all of that stuff. And then the things we can't control, that's where we have to really work on the surrendering. And I don't.
A hard part.
It is a hard part, and I'm going to leave you with this. And and this might be, there are people that would disagree with this, because they want to have a more concrete faith than I'm going to suggest. I do have a very concrete faith. It's very literal. I believe God. I believe he does things. I've seen him do things. I've seen him do miracles, literal, physical miracles. I know that he is real and he does stuff. Okay. But I also know sometimes he doesn't.
Oh. Yeah. Okay, I know.
He doesn't when he could have.
Right.
And that's what hurts you.
You know what? I think that it's okay. Yes, it hurts. But I do know that he loves me, and I'm here today, and I'm such a sweet soul. I think I'm a great mom, and I don't know where I got that from. I know where I got that from. There's just some things I need to work on, but even just acknowledging that is such a great thing. I realize that now. That's what makes me a gift to my children, them to myself. And
well, I would like to. Okay. I'd love to be one of those people that say, I just trust God so much. I know He's not going to let anything happen to my kids, or He's not going to let any. Well,
oh gosh, I wish you could say that.
I wish I could say that too. And so but I can't, because it's just not true. When we trust Him, it ultimately, where I've had to get to, because I know God lets some bad crap happen. And I don't know why.
Yeah.
But here's my problem. I know that He's real, and I know that He loves me, and I know this other stuff happens. So there's something about that I don't understand. And where I've had to get to, and maybe this will help you. I trust Him that He loves me and He's not going to let anything happen that ultimately He's not, in charge of, and blah, 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 blah. And He, and sometimes evil people do stuff, and I know sometimes He doesn't intervene, all of that kind of stuff. But here's where I've had to get to in this, that I don't know what He's going to allow or not allow. So I can't just trust everything's going to turn out like I want it. But I can trust one thing. And this is where I think this is where the book of Job takes us. That
yes, the gentleman mentioned Job. Yes. Uh-huh.
I know He's good, and I know He knows more than I do. And whatever happens, I can always trust that whatever I have to go through, I won't be alone. He will be with me.
Yeah.
And that's something we can depend on. We can depend on.
So I've got homework.
Got some homework.
Got to read Job again.
I wish we could talk longer. There's so much about you that I would love to unpack. The foster homes and group homes, and you turned into this kind of great mom. It's the kind of ending we would love to hear. for everybody that starts out behind the eight ball like you did. So I wish we had more time, but thank you for your call, and I hope you call me back sometime.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. Can my son say goodbye real quick? Say goodbye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us. Come back and see us. Oh, gosh. I don't know, guys. I don't know how it gets any harder than that. I mean, obviously, there's many, many hard things. But I got to put losing a child as right up there at the top of the list. I've had friends that have had to bury their kids, and it's just throws everything upside down. It's not the way it's supposed to be. And if you know anybody that's gone through that, then be nice to them. They need it. It's brutal. Just brutal. Okay. 844-940-2774. You know what? I want to point out one more thing, though, about Michelle's life. She grew up in foster homes and group homes, and she said always waiting for the next shoe to drop because things are taken away and chaos and all of that. And I really want to take a moment and just celebrate her and celebrate God, because she said she's had a relationship with him that has brought her through all of that, throughout the years. And just celebrate for a moment that there's just a reality that it truly is possible. And we're not talking about theoretical physics here. When I say possible, I mean like true. To come from and through very, very hard things and thrive. It is more than possible. It's done every day. If you come from a place where your history, the deck stacked against you, and you've gone through hard things, and those are real, not negating those. Don't decide that because of that you have limitations because of necessarily where you came from. Because you can change, you can grow, you can get better, you can heal. There are forces alive in the universe that God pours in every day of his grace and his love and his care, that when we can get aligned with help and support and love and care and new intelligence and instruction and all of that, then you can overcome what you've come from. So don't be marked by your past. Let's believe in a better future. And that's what we try to do here. So let's all be that kind of community. Speaking of the community, share the show with your friends. We're trying to build an audience. And so you are our advertising department. We don't have billboards. We just need you to share it. They can also listen to the program by going to the boundaries.me podcast, on iTunes or any of the platforms like that. You can go download the program as a podcast and listen to it while you walk or while you work out or whatever it is you do. It sits there 24/7. So share it with your friends. And if you want to learn more about the principles behind all of this and some courses, we have 70 something courses on there about all these areas of life, the entire library. Think sort of the Dr. Cloud Netflix, if you will. You get access to the entire library of how to deal with all these different kinds of issues, from family to marriage to kids to anxiety to stress to goals and all of that, by going to boundaries.me. It's boundaries.me is the website, and you become a subscriber, and that lets you in, and then we go from there. I become your coach. Okay, boundaries.me. All right, let's go back to the lines here and go to Houston. We're going to talk to Kim, who has looks like on my screen, Kim, it says a letting go question. What do you got to let go of?
We lost Kim. Hold on 1 second.
We lost Kim. Okay, Albie is saying, hold on a second. We're going to try to get Kim back. Let's see if Kim is coming back. 2 seconds.
Just 1 second.
3
guys.
seconds. 1 second.
I think we lost her. I think she maybe lost connection or something.
So let me read Kim's question, as I've got it up on the screen, and I'm going to say a few words about it. And then after that, we will go and we'll talk to Julie, who's calling us from Tulsa. Okay, so Kim on my screen has a letting go question. Have you ever tried to let go of something and you got sticky fingers? You can't quite let go of that person or of that whatever it is. Big problem in life. Letting go question. All right, it says toxic relationship with a boyfriend, recycling thoughts and ruminating. How do I move forward? Okay, so what I'm reading between the lines here and thinking probably is true. Have toxic relationship with a boyfriend, meaning that there's a lot of good there, or something that keeps you connected, or something that keeps you kind of, in it. But while the milk looks pretty good to pour on your cereal, you pour it out and it's got curdles in it too. So this great guy who looks so good has some sour curdles. And see, that's the problem in a relationship like this. There's always good. There's always something you're getting out of it that you like. Nobody's saying there isn't. They're just saying that milk is sour. So if you're going to drink it, you're going to get an upset stomach. That's a toxic relationship. Okay, so here's what happens. You start to get the toxic relationship and you experience it every time I'm with you. And finally you go, I can't take it anymore. And then you break up. Problem solved. Not exactly. Because what happens is, if you haven't really let go of, and here's my tip for you, Kim, the whole person. Okay? The whole person. If you haven't let go of the whole person, then what I mean by that is the great looking milk on your cereal, but also the curdles of sour grossness that comes with the milk. That's the whole package. That's not hard for me to toss. But what we do is, once you toss it, then you start to feel lonely, and then you start to remember and long for the curdles in the milk. No, those nights by the fire, and when he held me, or when we talked, or I just used to love. And what happens is, people in toxic relationships, when they're trying to leave, they don't grieve the whole person. They only grieve the good. They're missing the good. They're fantasizing and ruminating. Oh, we could make it work. Oh, he's got this quality. Oh, this is so great. Oh, I miss that. But they're not picturing the whole package, because if I get that, I also get the sour milk, and I get a stomach ache, and I get abused, and I throw up. You can't have him without the stomach ache. And what your mind will do is it will try to go into the grief cycle of missing the good without thinking about the bad. And so sometimes when you get into the whole picture, that keeps you from going there. Training little Finley right now. We have a new Doberman. Some of you know that. We shared it when we got her. She's Finley just hit a big milestone. She hit 4 months. I think it's 4 months, whenever it was. Anyway, it's the right amount of time after her last round of shots. And now she can go out into the big world, and we're having a blast taking her out into the big world. But one of the things little Finley wants to do is she's got a couple of spots in the yard where she really likes to dig because there's something in there she really likes. And so I was working with her yesterday, and she she starts to go dig, but I've got a little correction that I do with her that she doesn't like. And so she started, and then she gets, she pulls back, and you could see her, she's negotiating this thing in her head. She wants to go dig there because it's going to taste so good. But if I do that, I'm going to get, I'm going to get my correction. And it might be whatever it is. I'm not going to get into angry animal treatment letters here, because some people think, that's a whole world. If you know much about dog training now, there's some people that say to use any kind of, like, if you use any kind of aversive correction, that's dog abuse, and there's other people that, anyway, you're not interested in all that, but I do correct her. And so you can see her, she's going back, but then you can see she remembers, if I go for what I want, it's also going to have a little pain in it. And she stops because she sees the whole picture. And then you see her working this out, and then she goes off and she goes and plays with something that makes her happy. So Kim, that's what you got to do. You got to remember, there's no longing for this guy without the pain. So remember the pain, you'll get on down the road. Stop longing for what doesn't exist, which is this guy without the toxicity, until he cleans up, and then maybe it's a different story. Okay, let's go back to the phones. I was going to, Julie was calling us from Tulsa. Julie, are you there? If you are, welcome to the program.
Hi, Dr. Cloud. Thanks for taking my call. I hear you about the dogs. We have 2, and they just broke the fence and ran away yesterday. Luckily, our neighbors brought them back.
Did you get them back?
We got them back. Yeah, our neighbors brought them back. But yeah, the correction, we tried. One's 2-year-old lab, and the other one's a 10-year-old Jack Russell. So yeah.
So they've been around a while. Yeah, it's really interesting to talk to these dog trainers. You got some people that any kind of correction, they think is dog abuse. And you got other people that are, it's goofy.
Yeah.
Anyway, different schools of thought.
My question.
So you didn't call me about your dogs, I bet.
Nope. So my sour milk, sadly to say, is my daughter, who's recently turned 18, and she ran away from home at 17 and ran to live with her father, who actually had a no contact order against him because of abuse with her.
Wow.
But so I'm dealing with a prodigal child, and my
is she
issue
with him
really,
now?
and I like. She's with him now. The abuse happened back in the day. The courts are involved. Things are working out there. So I'm not concerned for her safety or anything like that right now.
But she is with him, and it's all legal for him to have contact with her now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, yeah.
All right. So then your question is.
I know. Well, my question is, with the way everything went down and her running away and me being in the grief process, I like what you were talking about the serenity prayer. And, I go through that thinking, I can't change her. I can only change how I respond to her, react to her. I haven't talked to her. I've only really talked to her twice since March. I briefly saw her in June, and it became physical, and she got physically abusive with me and then left.
Wow.
Here's my dilemma. My dilemma is, yes, I am missing the good parts of her, and I want to reach out to her, and I want to talk to her, and I want to let her know that she's loved, and she's welcome back home, and and that kind of thing. At the same time, there's a part of me that's like, if she's going to treat me this way and treat our family this way, good riddance. Go live your life, make your mistakes, do your thing, and when you change, then we'll be here. So I'm sort of torn between that, missing her, wanting to call her, reach out to her, and also
Julie,
giving her.
Hold on. those to me can live in the same sentence. I don't see those as mutually exclusive. I mean, I think what you said was it's a great recipe to say to somebody, I love you, I miss you, I'd like to work this out. And, at the same time, I can't stand here and be, beat up, physically assault me. I can't do that. Or, but if you want to agree to come back and work on this, and we can agree to that stuff's not going to happen, that's what I want. So I don't think you have to choose between those two.
Well, I'm trying to give her space. I mean, she's in another state doing her thing and living her life and whatever. And I really only see, if she posts a picture on Instagram or something, kind of what she's doing. So we're not talking to each other. And she's living with somebody who's like a clinically diagnosed narcissist. And I didn't even know what that was until I read up and learned. And the longer she's with him and the more time she's ever spent with him, she's worse. That's why when she came back, in June, she was worse. And so even when I reach out to her to extend, as her mother, I love you, how are you doing? The messages I'm getting back are worse and worse and worse. And so I don't know if I should put myself in that position.
Worse and worse at you? Worse and worse at you, or about her life?
Yeah.
What is her beef? What is her beef with you?
Just normal parenting, not letting her sneak out and, pee out all night and, making, have to pass her classes and so on and so forth. Can't do drugs.
Wow, that's so mean. How could you demand that somebody pass classes and stay in their bed all night? Really?
Right.
That's it? That's kind of her gripe?
Yeah, her gripe was, just the regular normal parenting rules. And of course, her father was feeding all kinds of stuff and encouraged her to run away and got her a plane ticket, flew her during the pandemic out of state and so on and so forth. So it's been a big mess.
Okay.
But I'm feeling the rejection. I am heartbroken and I'm torn between, okay, is it right to say to grieve rightly? I don't want to be in denial. But I want to go, okay, listen, I've already turned her room into a guest room. She's 18 now. She wants to go live her life. I'm not going to come upstairs and see her bedroom and, start thinking, oh, is she going to come back? So I just had to move on. And I completely
That's fine.
into a different.
That's fine.
So I'm wondering, I just want to make sure I'm not in denial. I don't know if the difference between denial and acceptance. Am I accepting her being gone and okay, and it's okay to cry some days? Or does that mean that I'm in denial and I'm?
What would you be in denial of? It sounds like you're very aware and facing everything. Your daughter's left. She wants to go do her own thing. You go, okay, I'm accepting that. I'm going to change your room, and I'm going to accept the fact that damn it, I wish I had a relationship with my 18-year-old. That's sad, right? And so you're not in denial about that. You're grieving that. So I think the way you've put it together in saying, I don't want it like this, but this is the way it is. I got to move on as I'm moving on. But it makes me sad.
So is it wrong if I don't call her? Is it wrong if I don't call her? Is it wrong as a mother if I just say, fine, the ball's in your court. I'll hear from you when you reach out. And it could be, who knows when that could be.
Well, what does she say when she reaches out? I mean, is she still abusive to you?
Yeah.
What does she say?
Yeah, it's just, she'll just, call me names and, blame me for whatever she doesn't like about her life or, whatever.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't know. Is it wrong? I would say this. I'd say, you drop her a note or a line or everything, I hope you're doing well. I'm thinking about you. Just want you to know, I'm your mom. I love you. If you ever want to come back and work things out, I'm totally open. Till then, I hope things go well. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with saying that. Say, but you told me you want to go do your own thing. That's fine. I'll leave it there. The door is always open. Call me when you're ready to talk, and you can leave the ball in her court, whichever feels the most comfortable to you. So sometimes continually chasing is enabling, and it doesn't give them the lost feeling that they need to feel, like the prodigal ended up in the pig pen.
Right. That's what I'm kind of getting at, I guess, is me reaching out feels a little bit like that. There's a part of me that just wants to say, nope, let her go and let
That's
God
fine.
work that out and let her make her mistakes,
There's
and then there's
wrong.
another part of me
There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. A lot of these are judgment calls, but here's kind of how I think about it. And then I'd let you kind of go think and pray about that. Is this that when we are trying to do something and it's not working, and it's continually not working, and somebody's not responding, then to continue to do the same thing expecting different results is crazy, right? And so
right.
if you've asked, if you've expressed, if you said you're open, if you've offered this and that, and it continues to not work, it's fine to say, well, at this point, I really don't know what else to do. So I've invited you. If you want to come back and work it out, that's fine. But I'm just going to leave it in your court because this is apparently what you want. And hope things go well for you. Call me if you need me, and just let it go. You can do that. There's nothing wrong with that. But I think the judgment call there is, have I done what I've done? Have I done what I can? And is it getting any results? And at some point, if it doesn't, then you just, she's young. People come back.
I guess I'm surprised at myself, thinking, okay, I'm moving on. This isn't really, I'm just going to let it go. And then find myself in the days where
you're surprised.
I guess I'm surprised sometimes when I'm like, okay, I'm just going to move on, let her do her thing. I'll hear from her when I hear from her. And I guess I feel like I'm accepting it and everything. And then there'll be a day where I feel completely opposite of that, and I'm.
Well, of course you do. It's called, okay.
Let
me give you a term for that. Okay. You have ambivalence. You have mixed feelings. That's a sign of maturity.
Yes.
Okay. So grasp it as a dynamic tension. A mature person says, I can't take this anymore, and I love you and I miss you. A borderline personality says, I can't take this anymore, you're bad and evil, and I hope you fall off the face of the earth. Or, I miss you so much, you're so wonderful, I'll deny all your problems. That's called splitting. Okay, and that's a very immature way to live. What you're doing is you're looking at the whole thing, which is you love her and miss her and value her, and she drives you crazy, and she's abusive, and she's making some choices, and you're putting all that in one package, and you're having a lot of conflicting feelings about it. Welcome to adulthood, because that's how adults have to go through life.
Okay, well, good. That's really assuring then.
Good.
Maybe that's what I needed to hear.
I'm glad I can welcome you into the misery of adulthood, because that really is what it is, right? Until we get to heaven, this whole ball of wax is going to be a big, Neapolitan bowl of ice cream. There's a lot of different stuff going on here, and we make the best of it. Okay. Thank you for your call. I hope your daughter. I'm going to ask our Army, say a prayer for her daughter to wake up and,
Yeah, please pray for her. Yeah, she
get the
needs
light.
prayer.
There we go.
And she.
Okay.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you for your call. Well, this is the Dr. Cloud program. Gosh, we have got a lot of stuff going on today with relationships and, pain and all of this, various areas, from loss and making hard decisions when people they're halfway growing and they're not. We have to deal with them. Life. But you know what? We are at the end of an hour, and I'm going to tell you this. when we talk about life and all those problems, I really do enjoy doing this hour of my life with you guys. I look forward to it every day, every single day. I look forward to getting to be with you and hearing the stuff that's on your mind, talking about these things, talking about all the different kind of relationship stuff and pain and God and where is God and why did God do that and why do I hurt and how do I not think about this and all this stuff. I like doing it with you guys. So I'm glad you're here. I want to thank you for being part of this audience and share the program with your buddies. They might like it too. And go check out boundaries.me. Go to boundaries.me and become part of the community. We're building lots of groups there, lots of growth happening, lots of good things. It's kind of a all things Dr. Cloud, sort of like Netflix library. And you can go there, you get access to everything, and you can look up whatever problem you're dealing with and hopefully find some answers. Okay, guys, good to be with you. I think tomorrow we are on, I haven't even, I think tomorrow we're on at our regular time at 1 p.m. Pacific. Of course, the show sits there 24/7 on YouTube and Instagram and Facebook or boundaries.me podcast, wherever you get your podcast. But the 1 o'clock hour Pacific is the hour that you can call in. Okay. Good to be with you, and I'll see you tomorrow. God bless. Bye-bye.